Hello, welcome back to day 14. It's Thursday, May 14th, 2020. I don't know how time is going so quickly, as it was seeming like it was going so slow. And now all of a sudden here we are to almost mid-May. I hope you had a chance to see the first video, yesterday's video, right before this one today. We had some technical difficulties with the video on my part, so I'm sorry you're just seeing that one today as well as this one for today. But we wanted to make sure that you had that video as well. So the prompt for the last video was to draw flowers, and I was working on that. So I wanted to show you what I ended up with. So here is what I ended up with. Remember yesterday, or in the last video, it was a very, very simple sketch. I was just laying in the details. This one isn't really very complex, but it gives more detail. I really paid attention to the leaves of each of the flowers and just the texture of the leaves as well as the color. And yesterday in that video with the flowers, I was only using 5 colors, so I really wanted to stick to that challenge of the 5 colors. And then I went in and I added another purple. So I used 6 colors. I'm sorry, I also used black. So I guess I used 7 colors here. So for my original 5, I then added black and this lavender, just to add a bit of a different color, and then to add some soil to my pot down here. So I hope that you had a good start to your flowers, or that you'll get them started in a little while. So today's prompt, I have to pull out my sheet here to see where we're starting. Today is draw a favorite place where you have been. And let me see what number that is. These days get very confused when I mix them all up. So I'm trying to find it. May 14th, where are you? Somewhere on my sheet I labeled it. And I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. Hang in there. May 14th, where are you? There you are, number 35. Draw a favorite place you have visited. Now, as I've talked to many of you, you've been all over the world, and you must have many, many favorite places. When I think about my favorite places, it's always connected to the people in my life. Some of my favorite place is St. Germain, Wisconsin, up north Wisconsin, sitting around a campfire with my family or going down to the lake. Those are my favorite places, and they're so deeply connected to the people that I love and that I spend time with. So where are the places you love? What have been your favorite places to visit? One time I was in Estes Park, Colorado, and I was staying at the Stanley Hotel, which was one of my favorite places to be. And you may remember Stephen King wrote The Shining, and The Shining he wrote at the Stanley in Estes Park. He got snowed in one night, and they gave him room 217, and he claims he had some very ghostly experiences there, paranormal experiences, and he wrote The Shining. And then Stanley Kubrick took The Shining, director Stanley Kubrick took The Shining and made it into the hit The Shining. And Stephen King never, ever liked that version, so he made his own 4-hour version of The Shining, which, in my opinion, is not that good. I like Stanley Kubrick's classic, The Shining. So staying there was one of my favorite things, but we drove down into Denver, and when we came back from Denver, we were coming up through the mountain roads and drove up a hill, and then all of a sudden there were the mountains, and it was amazing to see that. So that I remember that being one of my favorite places, that seeing the mountains just open wide up as you were coming up over that hill and not expecting to see the scene that was there. It was really inspiring. So when I think of other places, I think of man-made places that I like to visit. And one I talked about before is Dr. Evermore's Art Park out in Sauk City. It's a really cool place, and I love going there. So I thought about that, like, is that one of my favorite places? And it is. But what are other favorite places? And I thought of the Dickeyville Grotto. Now, maybe some of you have been to Dickeyville, Wisconsin. It's the second to the last little city before you hit Iowa. There's Dickeyville, and then there's Keeler. And Keeler, Wisconsin was named for my great-grandmother's family, who were all Keelers. And so I'm sure back in the day when it was named Keeler, there were not many families living in Keeler. It's still very small. But Dickeyville happens right before Keeler, and that's where I was born and raised for the first 4 years of my life. And in Dickeyville, there is a grotto, a man-made grotto at the church, at the Catholic church there. And for many years, those 4 years I grew up there, the Dickeyville grotto was pretty much my backyard. So I remember walking through it in the snow and going there, sometimes in the evening and sometimes on a sunny day. And I remember all of the broken pieces that the artist used to make the grotto. So the grotto has many, many elements, and of course religious elements that are tied in. But the artist took broken bottles and pieces of glass, teacups and saucers, and even created a water fountain that also incorporates mosaic. So it's really, I guess you'd call it folk art. It's made from concrete and broken glass, broken pieces. And when I think about favorite places, I think, wow, that was one of my favorite places and one of my formative places as a child. My aunt lived across from the grotto for, I think, 20 years. And so all the years I was growing up, she lived there until I was in high school. Until I was in college, she lived right across from the grotto. We would go there as kids and we would play in the grotto. And look at the grotto, and I remember just, like I said, running my hands across the pieces of glass. And I always loved to find the saucers that the artist worked into into the concrete, and that had little images of like women on it, or little pictures of trees and landscapes. So I loved going there as a child, and I still today, I haven't been there in many years, but I do drive by there, and I think it's time to take my own kids there, because it is a pretty magical place, I think, at least. So when I think of the Dickeyville Grotto, this is not the part of the grotto that I think of, but when you think of the grotto, if you know the grotto, this is the first thing you see. But this is not where I would want to hang out at the grotto. I'd hang out over here because there's a cool water fountain back in there. At least there was 20 years ago. But there's a little shrine in here, and often there's a little, a person. There is a person sitting here taking donations and giving you tours of the grotto. So I am just going to, this reminds me of my mysterious doorway that I have yet to finish, and I hope that you're working on yours or have that finished, or your staircase. So I'm just going to make my grotto with lots of random shapes and pieces, because that's really what the grotto is made of. So I would wonder, what are your favorite places? Are they a place? Are they a feeling? Is your favorite place just connected to feelings? Where is that? Another one of my favorite places is my living room at 5 p.m. on a sunny afternoon. It is so warm and inviting and quiet sometimes, and I love to be there at that time. So you're probably thinking, wow, that is not quite a spectacular place at all. But I'm going to keep adding to it. I'm going to go back and look at some images of the Dickeyville Grotto. I'm going to make this come alive more. And I'm going to add in those little chips of broken glass, those pieces of broken glass that were laid so really meticulously and well planned. And the artist who did this, and I wish I knew who that was right now, really was thoughtful about how he laid out the grotto and how he laid out the fence lines and all of the pieces that go into making this really a sculptural park. Giving homage to the saints and to religious figures. So that's the beginning of my one of my favorite places that I visited. And I would love to hear what you were thinking about and what you were working on and making. So remember, send me an image to jennifer.bethel@oakwoodvillage.net, or give me a call, 230-4324. There have been some questions about how much do these sketchbooks cost. These are complements of the art therapy program and life enrichment We want you drawing, we want you busy, we want you just really having something to do and a way to, to express your feelings and your thoughts and all of this time during our isolation. So they are compliments of Oakwood Village. So thank you for all you do for us and for being here. And thank you for being a part of this journey of sketching together. I will see you tomorrow, Friday, May 15th. Okay, happy sketching. See you soon. Bye.